Hi everyone, David here. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for coming back for another video, or welcome if it's your first one. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing well, hope you're staying safe. I'm doing okay. It's a nice spring day in Osaka. The cherry blossoms are just starting to open in some places, so I can feel spring in the air. So you might want to come to Japan to see those. But is that a good idea or not? Now, I want to talk about that today. Probably you can guess what the conclusion is going to be, but is Japan safe? Basically, that's the question of the day. I'm not just talking about crime, but also natural disasters. Also, what do the regular people think of tourists these days? Because the winds are changing a little bit at the moment in Japan. So I'm going to talk about that today. Please like this video, please subscribe to the channel, and please leave a comment or a question. I want to put your mind at ease. And what else? Share this channel to anyone else who is coming to Japan soon. So okay, let's talk about crime first. Now, Japan is typically known as one of the safest countries in the kind of, I don't know, developed world. And yeah, I agree with that completely. I was kind of surprised how safe it is, and you can, after a while, you do really feel it. You feel like you, I don't know, let down your guard a bit, and you can trust people around you. Basically, you can leave things on tables in cafes when you go to the toilet. They're not going to get stolen. If you drop your wallet, there's a pretty decent chance it's going to get handed into the police station with all the money inside it. Not all the time, but for the most part. And yeah, pickpockets, things like that. We don't really hear about that much. We don't really have gun crime because mostly guns are not allowed for most people. That's not to say these things never happen in all of these different crimes, but yeah, well, it's not something you normally hear about. Usually people lose their wallets because of their carelessness, or they fell asleep on the train or something like that. No one's usually stealing them. I hear that in Japanese schools they take like a morals class, which they do for several years, which is interesting. I don't think we have exactly that sort of thing in England, or at least when I was a lad. So I think that probably sets the example nicely. And I think it's part of the social contract. I think if you believe you can trust people, then you become more trustworthy. I think that's probably how it works. People don't just become trustworthy by themselves, but we're in an environment where you hope that people would do that for you. So I think kind of what goes around comes around. So in terms of like petty crime, don't worry about it. Of course, don't go to any dodgy places, like sort of after the last train. There might be some sort of shifty looking characters. Yeah, stay away from that. But it's not like you're going to see gangsters on every corner at all. Of course, I'm talking from a position of privilege, being I'm like a man for once. I mean, women have different challenges from men mostly. So I can't really speak on that, but yeah, well, at least if you're me, then you don't have to worry too much. As for things like the weather, now, crime-wise, I think Japan's very safe, but in terms of natural disasters, I think we've got our fair share over here. The biggest one, of course, is earthquakes. I'm sure you can probably name a couple of big earthquakes you've heard happening in Japan. We had a couple, we had one a few years ago, the Noto Peninsula up in Ishikawa. That was hit pretty hard in New Year's Day. I think a couple of days ago we marked the 15th anniversary of the big Tohoku earthquake, the big magnitude 9.1 over in Sendai on the east coast. And we've had a few other ones since then, sort of fairly large ones that have caused a lot of damage. Well, what can I say? You can't really do much about it. They're going to strike at some point. Everyone's kind of worried about the big Nankai Trough one. The Nankai Trough is a kind of is it a subduction zone or something, where two plates, one's going underneath the other one. This basically is the whole south coast of Japan, running all the way from Tokyo down to Kyushu. So they think that's going to pop one day. Decent chance it's going to happen within the next 30 years, which is a bit kind of, I don't know what to do with that information. It's a bit vague, but what you can do is get ready. A lot of the buildings are pretty earthquake protected. They've got pretty strict guidelines about architecture. and they've got to be, withstand a certain level of shaking. So in that sense, if you're in a fairly new building, you don't have to worry too much. But I mean, touch wood, I haven't really experienced anything huge so far while I've been in Osaka. Can you imagine if it starts shaking right now? It's going to be awful. Is that foreshadowing? So earthquakes, yeah, that's a kind of vague threat in the air, but not much you can do about that. Typhoons are a bit more of a predictable danger. They tend to come mostly during August and September, although you do sometimes get a few outliers a little bit earlier or later. They don't tend to go very far north, although they had a few in Hokkaido recently, so never say never. They can be very damaging. They don't tend to destroy buildings that much, but they do cause a lot of damage. They do like power outages, water outages, and floods, of course. So yeah, just be careful. Try to avoid those months if you can. The middle of summer is a really horrible time to visit Japan anyway, because it's so humid and sweaty, and I wouldn't personally recommend that unless you want to go to a summer festival particularly. So there we go, typhoons. But you normally can see them coming. You can sort of change your plans. If you've got like a JR pass, you can probably just head to another end of Japan. But they do disrupt flights though, so please keep that in mind. Well, talking about heavy rain, we do have rainy season also in around June, but that can vary quite wildly. Last year we didn't really have that much rain in Kansai. Yeah, just I don't know. It's not like a monsoon or anything like that, but we do get some rainy days, quite a lot of them, and it can cause flooding, especially places like Kyushu tend to get a bit more of the brunt of it. Mountainous regions or the bottom of mountainous regions, which unfortunately is quite a lot of places in Japan. So they are prone to landslides here and there, but that tends to be in more rural areas, and they do take steps to try and avoid landslides by reinforcing the hillsides. But nature finds a way, so please be careful if you're in the mountains. Other than that, well, I mean, the normal weather's bad enough. Like I said, in summer you can get up to almost 40 degrees and very humid. It tends to be around 35 most of the August and September and July as well. So if you are prone to heat stroke, then yeah, maybe you avoid that. The winter's not that bad though. It just gets down to, it rarely gets below zero in Kansai. You might get a little bit of snow, but it's not too bad. But the north coast, the Japan seaside, so I'm talking about the Hokuriku area, like around Kanazawa or Niigata, or Tohoku, of course, that's really further north, and Hokkaido. They do get some really heavy snowstorms, including that. Well, there's a carved out snow road they do in I think that's in Niigata or Toyama, in sort of early, or towards the end of winter. So you can check that out if you want. Of course, skiing as well is very popular. But yeah, the weather is mostly okay. Just be careful of the typhoons. As for, well, a kind of a newer development is the recent slightly anti-foreigner vibe in the air. I've been very lucky. I've never had any kind of negative or like outwardly negative treatment from Japanese people because I'm foreign. But then again, I mostly try to integrate myself and like follow the rules and all those things because I'm British. That's what we do. So in that sense, I've been okay. But I mean, people have had trouble. I mean, you can only hear one side of the story most of the time, so I don't know how much they're at fault too. But the new government came in. Well, they didn't come in. They kind of got a boost in power with Prime Minister Takaichi, and yeah, there's been a bit more of a vibe of anti-foreigner, anti-migration, immigration. I've heard from other people that that's mostly about not really undocumented workers, but kind of large communities of low-paid labourers, sort of like in factory areas or farming communities, like in Saitama. So I think that's something they're worried about, and some kind of crime getting in that way because they're very protective about their safety. So I think the general, like the English teachers of the world, are not really being targeted so much by that. So I have to kind of think it's not about me so much. As for tourists, well, yeah, there's a bit of friction because there's a record-breaking amount of tourists every year. Basically, they've broken the previous record because the yen's so cheap. A lot of people are visiting from Asia, or like East Asia and America and Europe as well. So I think as long as people kind of follow the etiquette rules a bit, I think some people come and feel like, oh, well, you know, people are too strict about rules. I'm just on vacation, so whatever. Well, I don't think that's really a good approach. You don't have to, you know, follow every letter of the law. Well, no, of the law you do. Every letter of every little unspoken social norm, but just kind of look around you and sort of follow what people are doing a bit. I think that would help a lot. Just be respectful, and you get it back for sure. If you know any Japanese words, that would always go down a storm too. So people in Kyoto, for example, are getting a little bit annoyed by the influx of tourists, and they're talking about all sorts of changes to make it a bit more expensive for tourists. For example, having free buses for locals and then tripling the price for foreigners. That's the current plan that's being floated at the moment. Himeji Castle's ramping up the prices for foreigners as well. I'll misspoke there. Not just foreigners, but also non-Himeji locals. So it does include Japanese tourists as well. But they're sort of doubling or tripling the price of entry there. So there are things happening. There's a bit of pushback against it because this is seen as something that, like, I don't know, less developed countries tend to do. We don't really want this kind of two-tier system. That's not really how Japan usually works, apparently. So yeah, just be wary. You probably not. If you're just going to be friendly and nice to people, then that's fine. I don't think you're going to get any problems. But I'm going to make a video soon about how to have a nice, smooth journey on the trains. What kind of etiquette rules you should really follow, especially if you have giant suitcases, because that's what drives people insane. Drives me insane too. So yeah, there we go. So you're not going to get beaten up by any locals, I don't think, but still be nice to them. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say. So yeah, don't worry basically too much about coming to Japan, apart from typhoon season. You're not going to get robbed. There might be an earthquake, but what can you do about that? And mostly people are friendly to you, although just don't push your luck. That's all. If you're visiting for a short time. Okay, so thank you. I hope that was helpful. Please like this video if it was. You can leave me a super like if you really liked it, because goodness knows I need the money. And subscribe to the channel. I'm going to do all sorts of things like this. And also leave a comment or a question. Share the channel, that'll help me a lot. And I'll see you in another video. So take care. Thank you very much. Be safe. Bye-bye.